All right, welcome to North Georgia Advocate Podcast 33. Viral and myself are here again this week to go over some pretty important stuff that's been kind of swept under the rug. We've got a couple updates on the meetings that happened today with the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education and the tax issues and some other stuff, but we hadn't had a chance to watch the meetings yet. We've been swamped all day and had family issues and personal stuff. So life just happens sometimes. So, but today we found out that the school system is pretty much going to they're raising your property taxes. That passed tonight. There was a few people showed up and talked, and Rays came, but old Butch Miller owns Milton Martin Honda come in there and was all for it, saying that's what we need to do for the school kids and do this and do that. And hell, he's old enough, he's exempt from the school tax. It's easy to say that when you don't have to pay nothing on it.
Right.
So expect your property taxes to go up. What was it, 14 or 15%? Just from the school board. And then the county Board of Education, the Board of Commissioners, they had their first hearing today. Only 2 people showed up, I think. No, that was for the Board of Education earlier this morning. But they're going to go up 9%, but they claim it's only for the properties in the city. And I believe that when I see it, just like we talked about last week, they claim they hadn't went up on millage rates in 10 years. Well, it don't matter. Like we talked about, when your property doubles in value, they don't have to go up on millage rates. City of Gainesville rolled theirs back 1 whole millage point this year. So did Jackson County. And I believe Barrow County or Banks County did the same. I read it the other day. So these other counties are rolling back their millage rates, but we don't see that happening with Hall County.
Cleveland just dropped theirs tremendously too, didn't they? Like almost 80, 90%.
Yep, I'm almost positive Cleveland did too. And a lot of people were fussing because it wasn't White County itself, it was just the city of Cleveland.
City of Cleveland. They're using the flossed
they use
funds, I believe.
And I think last year the people didn't even have to pay property taxes or something. Some of they got a big discount on it or something. And
right.
And we need to start looking at that mess and but these we know that the county ain't gonna want to go for that. Hell, the Board of Education and the county, there's $100 million between them. We don't know where the heck is. And you can't put an ORR in for it because it'll be an
like $200 million, right? Between the two, $100 million a piece.
Yeah, there's $100 million a piece, and you can't put an ORR in because you've got to be specific. You can't just say, where did all extra SPLOST money go? They'll give you a bill for $1,200, $1,300 trying to look all that up. You've got to know specifically.
And you still might not get exactly what you were looking for.
Exactly. I mean, it's crazy as hell. I got 30 pages from the Board of Education last week, and they wanted to charge me $400. And I went in there and told them, said, look, I know how this works. I know the sunshine laws, blah, blah, blah. And they come back with a bill for $89. But for somebody that don't know what's going on, they can fleece them pretty easily. And I will say the Hall County government is usually pretty fair from what I know of, but the Board of Education, hell, they'll rip you a new one in a heartbeat. Speaking of the Board of Education, do you want to go over what's in the new? It's just for Hall County voters. It's coming up this fall. This is what Will Schofield's been bitching about for the last year because he knows that more people are going to start getting homestead exemptions.
Yeah, it's essentially HB 1340 is on the ballot for the state, and I believe for Hall County as well, if I'm not mistaken. If enough people show up to vote for this, for ages 62 to 65, it increases the annual household income limit to qualify for the standard $30,000 senior school tax exemption. The cap goes from $25,000 to $40,000. So that's a pretty good amount. I think it kind of like takes into consideration inflation and all that good stuff, which is well overdue. And then ages 66 and older creates a brand new exemption that covers the first $400,000 of a homestead's assessed value.
That's major there.
Yeah, that'll be major. So that'll be a big cut for the school. But guess what? Everybody else that doesn't qualify for that's going to end up having to pick up the.
Right. Well, it's like you and I don't qualify for no exemptions, you know.
Right.
I mean, you know, and what people don't understand is if you're a normal person and the military and the county do a pretty bad job, you need to go on and look online or ask the county tax assessor's office all the different types of tax assessors, exemptions they have. Like for years and years, my dad was a homeowner. He could have been having a military homestead exemption, which is more than the senior homestead exemption.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew nothing about it. He's been a homeowner since he was like 30 years old, you know. And for all those years, they were paying all those taxes. And it's not just the military, it's the veterans. There's a bunch of them out there. Like law enforcement. And a lot of people know about the CUVAs, but that's just, you got to own a lot of land really to get a CUVA, you know, several acres. And have fun.
Yeah, but some of that's got to be used for, I think you got to have like a certain amount of animals or something.
Yeah,
like you got to do some kind of agricultural stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated, but there's a lot of just regular homestead exemptions that the federal government and the state are mandated to offer, but they're not going to go out of their way to tell you about them.
Well, they got to create certain things for their good old boys to take part of, and you know, not be paying the same taxes as the sheep.
Right. We're fixing to hopefully have a big bombshell coming out about the homestead exemptions for some people, but I can't get into a whole lot of that right now, but you'll just see it's going to open a few eyes. And, you know, 400,000 for 66 and older, that's major. Now, what's the cap for 72 and older? It don't matter what it is. It's unlimited, right?
Mm-hmm.
You live in a $10 million home.
Yeah, you don't pay school taxes.
And you don't pay.
Well, no, I'll take that back. It looks like only the first $400,000 of the assessed value is exempt.
That's for 66 to 72, but once you get to 72, is the cap gone, or is it still just the first 400,000?
Well, it says anything 66 and older. So
okay, well that means so it's 400,000. Well, that's still major. You know.
So it depends on. I think it's whatever their market value of the property is. I think the assessed value is only like 40%
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if your house is worth $1 million, you're essentially not paying any school taxes on it because it'll be 40% of that.
Right.
So, but if you own a $10 million house, the assessed value of it's going to be $4 million. So you're going to get another 400,000 exemption on that. So you're actually going to pay taxes on 3.6 million.
Right.
But that only applies to like I would say, a few people in this county. I would think there's not too many $10 million plus houses around here.
Well, if inflation keeps going up, we might have a slew of.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure that. Any properties, I think, in that case, also, if it's really worth that much, I would assume it's zoned agricultural residential, and you would already have the CUVAs on it to be exempt from, a big chunk of the property taxes at that point. So,
Right. Now, and one thing I want to get into while we're talking about these property taxes, going back to Greg Poole last week, we talked about him claiming that if you live in the city, that's who's going to be the ones that get the property tax increases from Hall County. And he told everybody last week, being all smart assy, saying if you want to bitch at somebody, you bitch at the city council for giving all these tax abatements for all these apartments and hotels and everything else. But that only matters to city taxes. It shouldn't matter to Hall County property taxes. And I've been trying to do some digging, and I'll be honest, I haven't done a whole lot of it because I've just been so busy. But did the past Hall County Commission give the Development Authority, the Gainesville Hall County Development Authority, do they have the power to waive Hall County property taxes for this stuff? That's a question we need to find out, because if the commissioners gave them that power, the commissioners need to get it back.
Right.
Because a development authority is not really a government agency. It's an appointed agency that's run as a private business.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nonprofit business. It's not a government agency per se. They shouldn't have any authority. It's just like how they held the damn property deeds for the North Hall Community Center, the government center, and all that for all those years.
Yeah.
And it was Corey and Jody and a couple of others, and Mandy and Penny and all those that found all that out. And they found
it's gonna be. I think it'll be interesting to see what Tyler's potentially able to uncover once he's in office in January. What other screwery is going on with our government, and not having to pay open records fees and all that stuff, to just be able to pull docs and request certain information and stuff. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, and we've tried to get the records from Fred Siphon on the Development Authority, because they're supposed to have, they're a nonprofit. You book
detailed records
wide open.
Yep.
And he's always on vacation, or he's doing this or doing that. And
yeah.
You can't
it's about time for him to. Yeah, I think he's about to retire too soon, or resign or something along those lines.
And it just pisses you off that the Development Authority, they just kick the same 7 or 8 people around and be members of it. Why didn't Greg? I know why Greg Poole didn't jump at them instead of the Gainesville City Council, because it's a who's who runs this town. You got Will Hyatt and his son and the Walters families and all these people on the Development Authority. And they just rotate positions. And he wasn't going to bite the hand that's feeding his ass. So the anger is misplaced. If the county gave up their authority to collect property taxes on this stuff that's passed in the city to the Development Authority, they need to get it back and quit passing the buck on to us.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm gonna always harp on this, but it's not a revenue problem. It's not a revenue problem in any form of government. It's always a spending problem. Yep. So I don't support any of that, whether it's us or whether it's the folks that live in the city that take on the burden, or whether it's somebody else. You're either way, you're passing the buck to somebody else to have to pay for reckless spending. So that's got to change. I think that's where the big cuts have to come from. So yeah, again, hopefully once Tyler's in office, and then hopefully Tyler's listening, I hope I can get a decent discount on the open records request, Tyler. because we're gonna try to dig in a little bit deeper if we can afford it.
Hopefully Mark jumps in there with him, because the way
Yeah.
Mark,
I won't hold my breath on that, but we'll see.
well, the way Mark talks, I mean, he's saying the right things, and he's been up and talked in front of the council. I mean, the commissioners, since he's been elected, saying the right things.
Yeah.
We'll find out in January.
Correct.
And I also want to point out too that while we're on Tyler, and I don't want people to get mad at Tyler, he just can't go in there and do what anybody wants and everybody wants. His hands are tied on a lot of stuff, just like every other commissioner. If it meets the UDC code and all that, they got to pass it. Now, he may be, if it's going to pass 4-0, 3-0, he can throw a damn token vote out there against it, just to say, hey, I was against this, but he's not just going to be able to do what everybody wants, and that's what a lot of people think when they support somebody, a candidate, and they don't do what they want, they get mad.
They get mad and say he's getting paid off. He's in their pocket.
And that's not the case. And Tyler, I mean, he's just about as straight up, as honest person as you can get, And let's see, Tyler is messaging me right. And I'm trying to find out what's going on. It's these commissioners, you don't want to be like these other ones and be in courts and be in lawsuits all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because you got attorneys like Steve Gillum and all them. Hell, they'll just soon sue you than look at you if they don't get their way. We found that on Winder Highway.
And
there were a couple of appointments supposed to be done tonight at the Board of Commissioners meeting. One was Tyler was going to recommend somebody to Greg Poole to be put up for the Planning Commission. And Gibbs was supposed to put up somebody as well to take where Shannon resigned. And Tyler just messaged me, and because I asked him so we'd know the information coming into the podcast. Brandon Dean is who I told him. I don't know who that is. So I hate we don't have any more information but that, but I'm sure it's a good candidate if Tyler's recommending him, because Tyler's vetted these people pretty well.
Right.
He went through a whole list of people and just narrowed it down to like just a couple, and the next few months will be a good test run for them. If they do a good job, he may recommend them stay on. If he don't, if he doesn't, he can always go to somebody else. So, and another thing that I want to talk about, was talked about tonight, it'll be voted on Thursday. That just baffles me how it can be voted on. The Ark, that place out on that, that big place out on
Airbnb.
The
Airbnb, yeah. Oh, so you sent me that that Facebook post on some of the stuff that they've been messing up on, or some of the but I don't see exactly what it was, and it looks like it's in Billy Powell's district.
If you scroll down through there, I listed some of the stuff that they had been in violation of. In my comments, as you scroll through the post, I mean, the stuff that they were accused of, and what we wasn't accused of, we know for a fact that it was done. And the Pass County Commission told them to look the other way, not to do nothing to them. It was,
it seems like a good old boy thing right here. I mean, you got especially. So I mean, for a house or even a compound, you're getting into an event venue at this point, and to have 80 guests, to have some kind of a, this big of a, that many cars, let's just say, to be over here would be insane, because this is in a neighborhood, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is.
And there's other people that live around this too.
Right. And the max beds they're supposed to have is 15. I've got the screenshots in this post that's in my North Georgia Advocate group. And that's what Viral and I are looking at. And they've got 27 beds already. If you get over 15 beds, even David Gibbs testified, because he used to work for the city fire department. Anything over 15, you got to have a hotel's license.
Right.
And if you
So I'm
do
pulling up the address here real quick on Old Dawsonville Highway. And so I guess they have a couple of like 3 acres or so across the street from where they're at to be used as shared parking. But yeah, I mean, this you're essentially turning this into a venue, a small event space at this point, and that shouldn't be allowed. You're in the middle of a neighborhood. I'm surprised the entire neighborhood out there isn't up in arms about, because that's just a huge event facility. You're talking about 80 guests. If I lived in that neighborhood or had a lake house in that neighborhood, I would be extremely pissed off that this is right here, and I'm having to deal with this traffic every weekend. You got houses all around this. Like, yeah, you got lake houses, lake properties all around this. So yeah, I don't see how this gets passed, honestly, to give them that much of a leeway for 80 people. That's just an insane amount.
Well, and I was getting, and there's already been people fill out online forms, and there's people at the last meeting talking about if they have concerts out there and everything, and the noise. And Gibbs even said before, if they have got over 15 beds, they got to have the hotel license. That means they've got to have the hotel kitchen. They've got to have the hotel sprinkler systems.
Right. Yeah.
And they even had a guy that worked for Fire County Code Enforcement up there. And he said, yeah, this is what's happening. And then
yes, I'm not even sure how this guy gets the balls to even apply for something like this, as big as this, knowing it would never meet fire code. Because what I'm thinking here is, let's say the county approves it and something happens to somebody at that, or like, let's just say it happens to, a fire happens and multiple people die. So at that point, not only is the owner at a liability at that point, I would even sue the local government for even allowing such a thing to even be allowed in such a small space. Like, you guys, this came in front of you and you knew the risks of it, yet you approved it. How does that work?
Oh,
so I don't think this gets approved. Honestly, I mean, logically speaking, just from like, from code and from fire code and safety standards and all that stuff, I don't see how this gets approved.
Well,
it'd be irresponsible.
Well, it hadn't been approved before. What happened before is the dude put on his website that they could sleep like 16 people, and somebody alerted to him it had to be 15, so he went back online and put 15 people. But if you look at the floor plan where it shows where all the beds are, it clearly stated he could sleep like 42 people.
Well, I'm looking at the website right now. It says for up to 27 people.
Right. But if you go to each room and count the rooms, it's 42 or 48. If you count how many occupants it can have per room.
Yeah. So I see the rooms, photo gallery. Let's see, let this load. So it's got ADA accessible features. So this is literally a hotel without it being tagged as a hotel.
Yeah.
So perfect for family reunions, for corporate events, company retreats, etc. Yeah. So I mean, I don't understand how that would
Well, and
work.
Gibbs and Greg Poole both brought up, how in the hell does his business license get renewed every year if he's not up to code?
Right.
I mean, that just don't make no sense. And now then Katie come back and said, well, he's going to have to come up to code to get his business license renewed. My question is, why in the hell didn't they just go in there and pull his business license and shut him down until he came up to code? Because
Yeah, it
like
says
you
under what is
now, the county's liable if something happens.
right. So yeah, let's see what happens. We got the vote coming up here on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, and then Billy Powell coming in last meeting taking up for him. Oh, he was our first Airbnb, so he didn't call it Airbnb, but our first short-term rental in the county, so he's kind of grandfathered in. Now, how in the world can you be grandfathered into a law like that?
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it's all questionable to me. Again, if it gets approved, I think it'd be very irresponsible for the county to approve that.
Yeah,
But
no,
I've seen them do more responsible things too. So
yeah, and then what makes you mad is he's wanting to do this and been doing it, but they won't. Then they won't let
Mark Powell
have a damn entertainment license for his barn that he's already doing stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
He's already having stuff there. He's just having to donate the use of the barn. He can't charge people to use it.
Right.
I mean, it just
Hopefully, if Mark's listened to any of our podcasts, and I'm sure he already knows this. If he wanted to do it, I'm sure he probably would already be doing it. But just ask for donations. You're not charging. You just ask them, hey, just donate to use the venue, and you're good. So that's the only loophole at this point. That's the only way you're gonna fight back against these dumb government folks that want to play the good old boy system and buddy protect each other.
Yeah, well, it's like that parking lot across the street was for like 25 or 30 more cars. Then they can sleep 80 people. That doesn't tell you that's 80 people just going to be at the venue.
Right.
That tells you, they can have it. I mean, this is just, I don't know. You just see all the stuff, the weird stuff that goes on, what gets approved, what don't get approved. And, like Mark, he wasn't even trying to rezone anything. He wasn't trying to ask for, he was just wanting to be able to have certain events there.
Just to be able to charge. That's it. I think just legally to get that out of the way so you can just legally charge to do it the right way. That's what you get for trying to do things the right way. And that's what sucks about all of that. Is he's trying to do the things the right way. He's up to his code. He doesn't have any code violations as far as we know. Cool, for his business and all of that. And the government's messing with him. And I don't know if that's a personal thing or again, like just the personal connections that Kathy Cooper has or somebody else that good old boy club has in that area. Like it's just asinine.
And it's mainly because he's got that lawsuit against the county because that subdivision is built behind him. They're letting a lot of his property wash out behind him, and he can't do nothing about it. And I mean, it's just a mess. But they shouldn't.
Hell, if I was Mark, I would be suing them for a lot more than that.
You got that right.
Yeah.
They're hurting his bottom line at this point.
Yeah. You're messing with my income at this point. So.
Yeah. Now. So, and also they moved up the Sardis Road thing where Billy Powell's son's developing that with the RV storage and boat storage. And they originally wanted it for October 10th because they wanted to do the traffic study. Now they moved it up to September 8th. So I guess they're getting the traffic study done a whole lot quicker than September 8th. Than October 10th.
Yeah, maybe it came through a lot quicker.
So I don't know any details. I just been seeing what people's been posting online. I'll watch the videos tonight and tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And they said the school board video is still not even up online, which is typical. But you know, hopefully we talked about it earlier. These last few months that that Poole and Cooper are on the board before they leave, there's no telling what they're going to try to ram through.
Yeah, it looks like this gentleman, Tim Adder, posted about the Sardis boat storage and whatnot being moved up to September 10th. Yeah, and again, like I've been saying on the show, I'm not necessarily against it. I do have concerns about the 4 parcels, the commercial parcels, but as far as boat storage goes, I don't see an issue with that.
I've never had an issue with the boat storage and the RV storage. It's just what the commercial part of it is.
Yeah, that the septic and all that stuff does have a little bit of a concern in my mind.
Yep, and also we had Veryl and I didn't talk about this. I just remembered bringing it up. We had Christy. What's her last name? The resigned from the permits.
Oh, Christy Turner.
Yeah, Christy Turner. She resigned, and there's a lot of crap going on. Y'all need to look online and.
Actually, I meant to read up on that. I saw Jody had posted something about that.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten a chance to go through that.
Yeah, I'm talking to a few people, and we were reading over that resignation letter, and I sent it to Jody, and I said, "Here, you've been handling all this stuff with the board of, you post this if you want to. Just redact the dude's name and all that stuff." If you read through that piece of paper, oh my God, how she kept her job is just baffling.
Say that one more time.
How she kept her job, it's just baffling. The stuff that's in that resignation letter.
Yeah.
It'll make your blood boil. How she was treating people, how she was always gone. She was inept. There's a lot of rumors flying around how she kept her job. We're still trying to prove some of this stuff. And there's a lot of smoke.
So wait, is the first portion of this letter of resignation August 10th, 2026? There's 2 whatchamacallit, right? This is to the county, or is this? But it says Dear Christy Turner, effectively immediately.
It was to her, and he had to submit his letter of resignation to her and to the HR department, Human Resources.
Wait, who had to send what now?
The guy that resigned that wrote that had to send his resignation letter into Christy and to Human Resources.
To John Gentry?
That's the county attorney. Yeah, he had to send it.
Well, no, John Gentry is the interim county whatchamacallit, right?
County administrator, yeah.
Yeah, so who's writing this first letter is what I'm trying to understand. Or it says respectfully, and then it...
The guy that resigned.
Oh, so somebody else resigned.
He wrote a 7-page resignation letter detailing.
Oh, wow.
Detailing everything that went wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay, August 10, 2026. So he's writing this to Christy, and then Christy resigned after that. Interesting. Okay, that's a lot. I'm gonna have to read this, and then we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to go back into this podcast because that's a whole nother thing. I didn't see that. I thought that letter was from Christy resigning.
No,
I didn't realize somebody resigned and said that letter. So I guess the permit manager, whoever that was, she was overlooking him or her as her boss, and she was like, "You're just completely crap."
No, yeah,
my goodness.
That letter's just that letter's a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah, I gotta read through that. Holy crap! I
We'll
need to see. I
we'll
need to
try
figure out who
to,
that was.
yeah, we'll try to get back on here Wednesday or Friday and do a podcast on this, and we'll have time to watch the meetings as well. We'll try to
Yeah.
shoot for Friday morning. That way we'll have the Thursday night Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners meetings will all be done, and then we can have a full episode on everything that's been going on. But that letter's a doozy. We've got it posted in our group.
So she literally resigned the day after. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So her letter's dated August 11th, and that person for the permit manager, whoever that was dated August 10th. So literally a day after.
Yep. And we've got some stuff in the works too, getting recordings, paperwork, emails, and everything from another inspector that quit not long ago.
Yeah.
We fixing to blow the
Oh, do we have are you talking about for Beth?
No. Another inspector.
Do we have her resignation letter at all? Do you know?
13. No, not from Beth. But we've got 13 people in Christie's department have quit, and one of them's wanting to tell everything he knows now.
Oh, wow.
So we're getting a bunch of information from him.
Maybe that's why I'm not getting a response back from the planning and zoning department.
Well, yeah,
because I've been trying to set up an appointment.
Yeah, they're all in a fire over there.
Yeah, I've been trying to set up an appointment to figure out how I can get on the agenda, and
that ain't no dumpster fire. That's a hot grease fire over there, boy.
Yeah. Holy smokes! Holy smokes! That is one thing. It'd probably be good to get Tyler back on here too, or Jody, and kind of talk to them about this. I'm sure they have a lot more insight than we do, and then
okay.
They talk to a lot more people, so.
Okay, yeah. Tyler just messaged me back. He said that the guy, him and his wife Kim live in Rabbit Town. They own a bunch of cattle, and he applied through the stakeholder committee.
Yeah, and, I saw who the guy was. I saw his him and his wife have like a together Facebook page. I guess she works for Virtual Properties.
Yeah, and so I knew the name because Rabbit Town's right here near my house, and I just couldn't put two and two together. But yeah, but anyway, this and another thing I posted in Jody's group, we've got a rogue builder building houses all over the place. Chipwood, A&R Homes, building a big subdivision up in Lula. He's got houses failing and falling apart all over North Georgia. And that's what caused this one inspector to reach out. He posted and said, "You should see the stories I got, blah, blah, blah." And
well, I'll say that about DNR. I mean, DR Horton.
How in the hell these people getting COs if their work's this bad? Because the permit people, we don't have enough building inspectors.
Yeah.
And the permit people.
You got a lot of people building a lot of houses and not enough inspectors to going out there. That I mean, not even that, but inspectors that actually know what to even look for.
Right.
So that's a big thing. But yeah, man, I mean, DR Horton Homes. I tell all my buyers to stay away from DR Horton Homes, and if that's still something they want to buy, that's on them. But try to give them a full disclosure. Same thing with Cook Construction too. They're terrible homes. I mean, terrible warranties, and they prolong warranty claims and all that stuff. And there's a lot of home builders just like that. So
yeah,
these mass producers. I mean, even all of Mundy Mill, all of those little subdivisions from Mundy Mill, the Chafin communities, whatever. I've sold like 3 homes in there, brand new constructions, and every single one of them had so many issues throughout the entire building process. And they said, "Hey, if you don't want it, you want to back out, we'll give you your money back. We'll sell it to somebody else. So take it or leave it."
Yeah, they don't care.
I was like, wow. Yeah.
As long as the county's
and that's the thing, man. I mean, yeah, the masses don't care. They just want a house. You know, They want to be able to say, I own a home. I don't care how shitty it is. I paid $400,000 for it. I paid $300,000 for it. It doesn't matter. I just want a house so that I can put it on Instagram and show it off and, show the world that I'm moving along. So, and that these folks win, and they let folks like this win every single time.
Yep. I mean, I remember when I built Copper Springs down in McKellar.
Yeah, that's a trash subdivision on its own too.
They wanted us to roof that, my roofing company to roof that, because we did big subdivisions and $500,000 homes and it was, we got up on it, rafters were freaking shaking with the plywood on. I said, you're not going to get me. You can't pay me enough to load this roof up with shingles and then put the shingles on it. I said, they'll collapse. I mean, we had the job. We just had to say, yeah, we'll do it. But when we went over there and was walking over it, you could literally walk from building to building to building. You didn't have to set up one ladder. You could walk between every home over there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was swaying like this, and they want you to put 1/4-inch plywood on it. I mean, it's just terrible. But we'll have a show on this on Friday morning, hopefully. And
yeah, I think Friday's good.
Yeah, and
I got to really read through this letter because I skimmed over it like half asleep when I saw it last night, and then now I want to really want to get into this. As far as like, what are you doing, guys? What are you doing over here? And this is for the better, honestly. It's a crap show. It looks like a crap show, but the crap show got exposed really badly. And so far, coming out of the crap show, we got Brent Cook in the engineering department that's taken over. I think he's doing a great job and really making things a little bit smoother over there in the engineering department.
Yeah, but one thing we got to think about before you get into it is John Gentry's knee deep into this Christie stuff too, from what I understand.
Oh, is he? Okay. I gotcha. Well, I mean, John's been doing a great job for us as far as I can see.
After all this outside,
I think he's doing a great job
on the exterior,
kind of getting all this stuff together. And then again, I got to read this letter to see what the claims are. But then you got Katie taking over the planning department. I think she's doing a phenomenal job. So there's some good stuff coming out of this, and it's going to be better for the county going forward. And then obviously you got 2 brand new commissioners going in, so there's going to be a change of faces and thinking and all of that start January. So I think it's all good things that you got coming into the county and something to hopefully look forward to and build on. So
hopefully that leads into going into 2028. We get Stowe and Powell's ass out there too.
Hopefully, yeah. Keep that momentum going. Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll see how Zach Thompson does too with the city of Gainesville. Let's see if there's any possible negotiations that happen and inner workings of all of that good stuff to see what comes about. Because I think we talked about it last podcast where it always just felt like, and from the stories that I've heard, that the city's always just kind of taking advantage of the taxpayers of Hall County. Broadly speaking, on a lot of things. So,
Zach, God known him my whole life. He comes from a good family. Ryan, his brother's a good dude. I mean, his mom and daddy are good folks. And Zach's going to do the right thing if he possibly can.
Yeah.
Now, that don't mean the other 4 city council members are going to go along with it. But he's going to.
Sure. You do got a Norton on there, so.
And we're hoping that Zach, he's got a lot of respect with all the other council members, but at some point, these people may stand up for themselves. They may think for themselves and not just do what he asks them to do or whatever. But
yeah, I would say you do, like I said, you got a Norton on there too, so you got somebody that's gonna be looking out for the good old boy club.
Yeah, but
I think
he's in the insurance part of it more than he is and he says the right things, but you don't know. exactly.
Yeah.
You know, is there a sibling rivalry that's festering, or is there? I mean, you don't know any of the semantics of it. You know,
Sure.
because
Yeah, no, they're going to protect each other though. I'm
oh
going to
yeah,
go out on a limb and say that.
yep, and but we're trending in the right direction. And the last thing I really want to get into is just real quickly that we're going to have a whole show on this too. This dialectical skills group, DSG, that the Schofields are implementing all over Hall County schools. They don't even have certified. I've got all the information posted on the website and in our North Georgia Advocate group, and then Eyewitness Hall County, and then Hall Informed. And, you know, they're wanting to automatically put your kids into all these mental health screenings and questionnaires and tests. And the parents have to literally contact the school counselor to opt out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the wrong order of operations. The parents should have to opt into anything like that. Sure. Instead of opt out. I mean, if this program is so good and not shady and not underhanded, why are they trying to do it? Technically, it's legal, but it's unethical. They're sending the stuff through Remind 101 or whatever it is and Infinite Campus that the parents look at, and the parents just hit okay. And if they don't, even if they do read this, they just think it's just a couple of questionnaires, but it's not. It's putting them in this dialectical skills. That is tier 2 therapy. Hall County, and they're wanting teachers and parapros and counselors that are not even certified to do this stuff to determine whether kids need this therapy. I mean,
yeah,
you can't let the school system turn your kids into guinea pigs. This dialectical skills group, it's not licensed by any organization, no medical organization, no psychological organization. They've not even been backed by any medical hospital like Emory or University of Florida, or, you know, practicing medical hospitals, university hospitals, teaching hospitals.
I think it's kind of sad when the parents aren't, you know, not even a little involved in their own kids' lives to really understand what's going on at school. So makes it a lot easier for the school board and the government to kind of dictate what your kid's able to do and not do at school, or what kind of programs they get thrown into without, you know, the permission of the parents, and kind of like, hey, no, this is my kid. So kind of like stuff that happens in the state of Washington or California and Oregon, where the government pretty much says, no, we have more authority over your kids than you do.
You
as
do,
far
yes.
as
And that's what's happening here. And you talk to and another red flag is none of these forms are on the Hall County School District website. I posted them on North Georgia Advocate, NGAdvocate.org. For any parent that wants to go over there, they can download them. They can print them out. It's got all the details of how to opt out, all the details of what's going on. You know, why can't the parents just go to the Hall County School District website, and this should be front and center?
Sure.
A big thing. Yeah. If you didn't see the form in Remind 101 or Remind or Infinite Campus, here, print it out here, fill it out, send it in to the counselor, whatever. You know, fill it out and email it to so-and-so. You know, that's not what's happening. And a lot of these parents, we've talked to parents they put these kids in, they lied to them, and I won't say lied, they misled them.
Right. I mean, what's the difference between the two?
Exactly. And they don't know what the hell's going on till their kids are at freaking Laurelwood.
Yeah.
And if the parent, and some parents, they pushed back and wanted them out and wanted their schools medical record, their kids' school records. They'd call defects on them if they didn't put the kids in the DSG program or send them to Laurelwood and tell them they're bad parents and all. I mean, it's just there's a lot that we can't say, and because we've been looking into this for several years, and they tried this a couple of years ago, tried to sneak a questionnaire from Emory University in there, and they pulled it when we started raising Cain, some of the mamas. And right after that and before that, that's when Schofield sued 5 of our advocates and mothers, threatened to sue them, sent cease and desist letters. We had to go get attorneys for them, for the mothers and the advocates helping these kids, because they didn't like what was happening for their precious DSG program that they created. And this stuff, it could work. This stuff could work for some kids. They want to treat it as a one size fits all solution to everything. They pass it off as teaching kids how to cope and how to learn how to deal with stressful situations. It all sounds great, but what they do is they get some of these kids in there and they gaslight them. You're the problem. Why are you getting bullied? Why are you causing these kids to pick on you?
Right.
What can you do to change to keep these kids from picking on you? And that's not how it works. And we've heard some horror stories, and I'm not trying to scare the parents to not put their kids in anything. If they were doing it the legit way and not trying to be underhanded about it, it'd be a whole different situation. If the teachers were flagging these kids, I mean, a teacher that's invested in their kids, they know when a kid's having problems.
Right.
If they clam up, they're not the same, then they can send them to a counselor. Then the counselor says, hey, we may need to do this. And then if they meet with the parents, then the parents decides to put them in it. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But not automatically putting these kids in these programs. The parents don't even know what they're getting into. Even if you are involved, you're still not being told the whole truth. And everybody says these questionnaires don't matter. Well, yes, they do. That's the gateway to allow them to have control over your kids. Once you opt in, then they can do pretty much what they want to with your kids because you've signed that piece of paper.
Right.
And I just want these parents to understand that the state of Georgia has even ruled. I've got the Georgia code. I've got the law. I've got everything. Brian Kemp, it's the Parents' Bill of Rights that Brian Kemp signed in 2022 because so much was going on with this stuff in other districts about the dyslexia and different stuff. I mean, it was just and the school trying to withhold school records and stuff. You have control over your children's lives. The government does not. The school systems do not. You're the one that has control, and you need to take it, and you need to keep it. You need to be the one that makes these decisions, not Joey Schofield, not Will Schofield, not a counselor at the school, not your school teacher. I don't care how much you trust them. You've got to be involved in the decision.
Yeah.
You can't just say, okay, here's my son, just do what you think's best for him, or here's my daughter.
I mean, we can say that, we can agree to that, and I wholeheartedly agree with you 100% on this. But at the end of the day, I think like I said before, some of the kids just don't care, and they're happy to take that one extra job off their hands and off their heads and off their shoulders to just be like, you know what, I don't want to think too much about this. Just let the school do what they want to do with my kid.
Yeah,
so it's unfortunate.
Well, and what it comes down to a lot of times is we've done the research. like 70% of all kids that can't read grade level by fourth grade end up in the judicial system at some point. I don't mean they go to jail. That means they get put on probation, or they're getting DUIs, or they're getting this. I mean, they're in the system.
Right.
And that causes a lot of these behavioral problems, and that's why a lot of these problems get diagnosed with other stuff. And, and these kids, I'm not saying they don't need help. They just don't need dialectical skills. They need more than that, because when you can't read at a grade level, what are you going to do if you can't keep up in school? You're going to start acting out, and you're going to start getting in trouble, and it just snowballs. And I've got all the test scores from 3rd grade through 8th grade on the website and the Facebook, not on the website yet, but on the Facebook group. 70% of the kids in 3rd grade can't read at grade level in Hall County. That is just absurd. And the Hall County School District wants to blame it on the Hispanics. But black kids and Native Americans read at a lower clip than the Hispanics. White kids are only 8% higher than the minorities. The only minorities that are kicking everybody's ass are the Asians. And they just historically, that's just what they do. I mean, they test out, and they are, their parents are all involved, and they're very well educated for the most part.
Right.
So it's just, and it all starts with being able to read and write. 54% of this country now, they released it not long ago, don't read at an 8th grade level.
Yeah, I see some of these Instagram reels where they give somebody a note card with a sentence on it or something like that, and these kids can't read. I'm like, oh my! I'm talking about like grown adults too have a hard time reading, and I'm just like, oh, now I understand a lot of what's wrong in this country and why we are where we are.
Well, there's several kids that came out last year, got full rides to top colleges and couldn't even read at like the 3rd or 4th grade level. And what pisses me off is everybody says these kids are dumb, they're stupid, the society's changed. No, the kids have all changed. No, the kids hadn't changed. It's the parents have changed.
Yeah, if you got a dumber generation raising a dumber generation.
And that's what kills me about Schofield and them. They always brag that they're high, near the state average, or they score higher than other school districts with the same amount of students. That shouldn't be our goal. Our goal should be the best.
Well, anything to pat yourself on the back to justify a bigger budget.
Who cares?
Increasing taxes.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares what Banks County and Jackson County and Dawson County and Forsyth County and Atlanta? What those kids do in those schools do not matter. What matters is what happens in Hall County schools. And if we get people on the Board of Education, and I'm not trying to blame teachers, I'm not trying to blame counselors, they do what they're told. They teach the curriculum they're told. They do what the bosses say. This comes straight from the administration on Green Street. And if the teachers are driven and given the resources to challenge the students instead of giving them automatic 50s, whether they turn in a paper or not, then the kids will thrive. And I've already talked to 10 or 15 teachers already this year that said not having the phones and the tablets in the classroom, the classes are more lively, the kids are learning more, the kids are more engaged. That's a game changer. And hopefully we see that take our test scores up. The test scores are up and they'll all brag about it, but what they don't tell you is they've moved the goalposts. You know, like California, you got to score like a 30 to get an F now. That's like a D is 4. You make a 30 on a test, you get a D or some shit. You know, you can't keep moving the goalposts.
Man, I would have had a 4.0 if that was the case.
You got that right. But no, it's I just want the parents that listen, and I'm not dogging anybody but the Board of Education. They've got to have the guts to stand up to the superintendent because he works for them.
Yeah. Well, that'll be the day. We'll see.
I know. And, you know, enough's enough. And we've got to start teaching our kids again instead of blaming it all on mental health. And I'm not trying to discount mental health, but you can't have, that'd be like me calling the damn dude paving my road to come assess my plumbing leak under the sink, you know, or my sewer back up or something. You can't do it. You got to have the right professionals teaching you or assessing your kids or assessing the problem. You know, just because you know something's wrong and you can see what's wrong, you don't know the step to fix it many times.
Right.
You know, and everything's got to be done in the proper order. And that's just not happening when we don't have qualified people in place. Hall County don't even have enough certified counselors for each school. I've got a letter on the website and on Facebook from Chestnut Mountain Elementary. They're allowing a speech therapist who's getting her degree and different things. They're allowing her to go in and give group therapy sessions and be in on group therapy sessions while she's still in school and learning how to do this. That's not who I want assessing my child. Nothing against the girls. Right. There's nothing against the counselor. There's nothing against anybody personally. But if you're not qualified, you're not qualified.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. That doesn't make sense to have somebody that young, that under qualified to be doing something like this.
Yeah, no. Now, if they want to go to school and get their class 3 or 4 certification or whatever it takes, I've got the note somewhere. But to where they can do this DSG and they can implement it and do what they need to do, that's fine. I'm all for it. But if you want to implement this stuff school-wide, they need to quit spending $10 million on a freaking farm and $3 million on a electric vehicle training program down at Flowery Branch High School and hire counselors and enough certified people to do this stuff. You know, so it's just a mess, and I just want the parents to know what they're getting into. I'm not trying to talk anybody out of getting into this. I just want you to go in with your eyes wide open. Ask questions. Get all the answers. They have to give them to you. That's your parents' rights. So,
I think, let me read through this resignation letter, and then we'll get back on it on Friday and kind of discuss these the letter for one, and then the voting. Let's see how the vote goes this for the Ark and whatnot. Kind of do a recap.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe we can try and get Melanie on. I know they need 40,000 more signatures, which is just absolutely insane because the amount of pissed off people on Facebook, you'd think we'd have, they would be closer to at least 10,000, 15,000 signatures for the petition and whatnot. But
yeah, because I mean
that doesn't sound great.
And those poor girls working their asses off. I mean,
Yeah.
they are, and the way they're having to do it, people's just not gonna. I know how they. Oh God, there! I got to stop and sign the sheriff's thing. I'll do it when I come back by. And if you
Right.
come back by and you got time, they're not there, or it's raining or something. You know, there's always a reason not to do it. You know,
Right.
and I get it. It took me 2 weeks to get up to go sign the one up at Quillian's Corner, 10 minutes from my house. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an uphill battle anyway. That's why, you know, recalls are so hard. We'll talk about the sheriff on Friday. We'll get Melanie on hopefully one day, get Tyler on one day again. And we'll be here Friday. We'll talk about that stuff, the board of education, and we'll try to get caught up. Instead of having a podcast every 10 days, we can start having one every, 5 to 7 days.
Sure, yeah.
Get back to trying to do them every Friday or every Monday, or just, when we schedule set in after everything calms down. So, well, we appreciate
All right, man.
listening, and we will be back soon. Thank you.